Okay, our broadcast is live. Hi, I'm Steve Sabadeski, and we have Lawrence Hardy and Jim Brown here, and we have just witnessed, I think, something really historical, and that is that the President of the United States, in this case Barack Obama, has gone on national, worldwide TV to, I guess, basically maybe not punt, but possibly change game plans as relates to his so far failed healthcare law. I'm real pleased to have Jim Brown. Jim, you have the experience in terms of the insurance commissioner position, and so you certainly can give us information about what the insurance commissioner would look at as relates to this particular plan, because obviously in this state, at least, the insurance commission is going to play a major role, I assume. And Lawrence, I mean, certainly being, the Jefferson Parish assessor, attorney, a political consultant, you wear a bunch of hats. All three of us are attorneys, so we wear those hats too. So, Lawrence, why don't you, if you don't mind, and again, this is not an interview, this is just a chat, but let's get it going. Lawrence, why don't you just kind of start the ball rolling and tell us, and of course, for those people who are not aware, you're a political conservative, you're a Republican. I think Jim and I are ex-Democrats and both non-parties. I believe, Jim, that's your situation.
Right.
So why don't you, if you don't mind, why don't you give us an idea as to, Lawrence, your view in terms of what it is that you currently see going on with President Obama, the healthcare situation, and Jim, just go and let's have a free-for-all.
Sounds great. Well, when you look at what's happened, I mean, the rollout of Obamacare has obviously been a disaster. The president could not ask for something to be worse than what we have seen happen with that rollout. And based on that, obviously the members of Congress are getting phone calls, I'm sure, from their constituents, and obvious concern about that rollout and the fact that people can't access the website. Now, what people have to understand and remember is we're talking about two different things here. One is the rollout portion where you go register, but then you've got the substantive law on the other hand. Right now, everybody's focused on this rollout and the problems that it's created. Today, the president announced that he's going to allow people who had their policies and were happy with them to keep them for another year, and hoping to allay the concerns and fears that people have. My question is, and I'm sure Jim can answer this much better than I can, is what happens in a year? What if people still want their old policy in a year? Is the president going to give them another year, or are they going to be forced to go into the Obamacare pool at that point? And that's, I think, the biggest question that comes out of what today's press conference is. It takes care of a problem today, but it does, like everything else in Washington, it kicks the can down the road to where are we going to be a year from now.
And I might pick up on that, Lawrence, even though, and you're right, we're going to go back to facing all this a year from now. I think there's some immediacy in terms of problems out there that I see, having been a former regulator. The president said specifically, and there's a big story in the Wall Street Journal, front page story, that whatever Obama does in giving this year's break, what he's saying is, okay, insurance company, you got to go back and reinstate that policy you've already canceled, that you have moved somewhere else. You've got to go look at the underwriting effect. What's it going to have on your bottom line dollar-wise? A lot of people are raising questions of whether or not the president administratively has the authority to do that. He's basically undermining state insurance commissioners. You see, insurance is the only product that is regulated on a state level. You go to the stocks and bonds, you go to banks, they're all regulated out of Washington. but insurance is regulated on a statewide basis. So there's a serious question as to whether the president even has the authority to do what he did today legally. Now, maybe the courts will back him up, but he's just going to immerse this whole problem in more lawsuits in the long run, quite frankly. So there's some
problems.
But and certainly when you talk about lawsuits, let's say for the moment that it is, and let's assume that's correct. By the time the lawsuits get up to the Supreme Court, which is where it'll go, probably the year will be gone, and it becomes a moot issue. But already the lobbyists for the insurance companies are saying this won't work. They've already issued a statement saying that what the president's doing is now going to force them to go backtrack, and they're not really capable of doing that, and really are saying it's going to hurt the integrity of the companies and the financial stability of the companies if they have to do that.
Yeah, you see, you got a car dealer who is ordered to take about 50 cars he sold back in and reconfigure them and sell those cars and have to pay for all those cars because it didn't work out with the person he sold the car to. He can't afford to do that. Well, to some degree, especially a smaller insurance company, it's going to be hard-pressed to reinstate the policy, have the money to pay the claims, and there's so much uncertainty to what's going on. So you're right. That's the problem about what companies are going to be able to do. And out of frustration, lawsuits are going to be filed. You get federal judges say, well, we'll put a stay on this till we get a decision. And as you rightly pointed out, Lawrence, we could be fighting this thing a year or two from now just on what the president did today, just on what's going to happen in the immediate future.
Let me throw some out to you. Obviously, it's a mess, and I think we all agree. The president agrees, and he might be the first one out there to claim that. But so let's assume that. I mean, what do? We do nothing. Do we? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what a fix might be.